What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, hoping that we get a second game. I want to talk about, why I think we need one, what it should maybe include, and go from there, the likelihood, I guess, of getting it. And let me just start off by saying that I really think, especially even what we've seen online over the last couple days, people are into this. You know what I mean? I think I was able to play the game early. I reviewed it. I put the review up along with all the major publications, and you could tell that there was something there, and you could tell people were responding quite nicely to people saying good things about this game. And now that everybody got their hands on it, people are starting to. People that are playing the game for a couple hours are loving it to death, calling it their game of the year already, all this stuff. It's awesome to see. I said it myself. This game is probably tied maybe slightly below my game of the year, but it's like 1-2. So I'm so happy with this game, and that matters. That matters because this is a game that, there are a couple things with that, right? Because it's not just how much people like it. Is it going to be financially successful? How much is this game going to sell? I don't think we're going to see Spider-Man levels of success, but if this game, can ship 3, 4, 5 million units, I assume that would be around the goal that they probably want it to be, and I assume that it's probably going to do it. I mean, it already had a big name with Guardians. It already had Marvel behind it with the IP, and it's actually good. This is not a game that week one word of mouth is going to be, yeah, you know what? It's a pretty bad game. It'll take you 5 hours to beat it. It sucks. Don't get it. It's not, It's a game that I think is going to do really well over the next several weeks into Black Friday. And again, hopefully, get into that 3, 4, 5 million. Now, I think that's enough. We'll have to see if they think it's enough to kind of greenlight a sequel. Okay. So you have that. You have also that Eidos Montreal. We don't really know too much about what they're doing, in the future. I believe they opened a new studio and are starting to build a team this year on top of the one they already have. So they are a growing, this is a growing team. They have a lot of people that work for them. So, we don't know what comes next. We knew what came before, obviously, with Deus Ex. And then they made the final Tomb Raider game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, I want them to go back to Deus Ex, or I want a Deus Ex game, I guess, as much as the next guy, right? I feel like there's a lot more you could give us with that, and that's an amazing franchise that I've always really, really liked. However, I'm into this new stuff. I'm into Guardians, and I want a new one. Then you have, I guess, on top of it, the fact that the game kind of leaves it wide open. Now, this is going to, I guess, spoil the ending of the game, but not really, so it's a little confusing, and I'm sorry for that. Basically, though, to go into spoilers, it ends. It ends, and it leaves it wide open in the sense of you accomplish your stuff in this game, and there's really no defined path for future games, which you could actually argue is, it's a good thing, I would say, right? Because they kind of keep the door open. It's not like, there's a major thing that stops them, but it also is maybe a little bit of a negative thing where it's like, they put this game out, they made this game, and they aren't really signaling at the end of it what comes now. There is a little bit, there's some stuff with Adam Warlock, there's some stuff with Nikki in terms of the relationship with her and the Guardians, and maybe a bigger role she can play. There are seeds of stuff that you can do, even like a Mantis thing, right, of what you can do in future games. There just is, but it's not like directly in your face. It's not like the game ends with like a, I don't know, like an earth shake, and then you see a villain just like, I don't know, come through like a meadow or something, right? It doesn't like definitively show you what comes next. And I don't know if that's necessarily disappointing, but it's actually kind of shocking. But again, maybe that's because they didn't know, what the reception was going to be like. They didn't know maybe if they were going to be able to make a second game. But in the game perspective, I think there's so much more room to go with it. It really does go back to quality, right? That they nailed it. They nailed it, and now because you nailed it, you can just keep going, and you can use a lot of the stuff that worked and then just improve the stuff that maybe was a little, average and add to it. Now, I'm not even suggesting you have us play as anybody but Star-Lord, but now I think, especially with additional members, you can start doing it where maybe you can have people swap in. So, like, you have your group of 4, but maybe Nikki can swap in, and you have to, kick somebody out, and now you're playing, like, with them. New abilities, new weapons, I guess not necessarily new weapons, but just new things these characters can do, and obviously new things in the universe that they can do. So one thing that I think they did maybe consciously set themselves up with is they didn't go over too much of what these Guardians have done before. Now, they do in a sense, right? Because we know about Thanos, we know about Nebula. So, like, two main characters or two major characters we do know, and I won't say it, but we know the history of those characters, to these ones, okay? So we got that. We also have a little bit of, like, banter between them when they're talking. When you were looking at the villains, I think you can do that when you're looking at the Nova Force, like the villains that are, like, captured or whatever. You can see villains, and they comment on some of them that, like, some of them have had, there's been brushes with these guys. So there is a little bit. I guess there's certain things, that you cannot do in a way because they've already established that it's happened or whatever. But also in a lot of ways, it's still relatively, like, these guys didn't meet, like, yesterday, but it's not like they've been out there for, like, 30 years, or they haven't dealt with, like, 400 villains yet. You know what I mean? There's a lot of room to keep going. Now, as you guys know, I'm not really a comic guy, but for research purposes for this video, I did look up, villains that the Guardians of the Galaxy are known in any line of comics to fight. And I mean, you just go through Skrulls, Mephisto, Grandmaster. Now you have Nebula, you have the Kree, you have the Collector, you have Ego, you have Dormammu, you have all of these villains, Galactus. There's a lot. And again, what they've established in this is, yeah, they've brushed up with some of them, but not really all that many. And in fact, some of the ones I listed, are not mentioned at all. So there's a lot of room, I would say, for this game to grow. I really do. And again, you have it. Now you know that. And I think that's, again, it's so fantastic that this game worked. I'm so happy that this game worked because you can really go anywhere you want in the future. You can continue. I mean, obviously, there's things you need to continue to do, right? Playing off that dynamic. You can do love interests, like, within the group. Really, a thing that this game doesn't do, really, is set up anything between... Now, again, I know it maybe doesn't happen in every, line of Guardians, but they don't really set up Gamora and Star-Lord. Like, there is something there, but it's not necessarily romantic. They could do that, or they could not. Like, I'm not saying you have to, but you can. You can set up these things with these characters. You could kill off a Guardian. You know what I mean? You can do these things, and they just left themselves open, and they already have a good game. So again, with the gameplay mechanics, you can keep it relatively the same, but again, you improve upon it. And I mean, the game looks visually incredible. I was really, really impressed by how good it looks. So, I'm not saying you turn around and you do it again in, like, another 2 years, but I would say, 3-4 years from now, like, could we get a second game? I don't see why not. I really don't. I think word of mouth, like, success, I guess, like, critically, and even, like, people just saying that they not even, like, if the game got, like, a 60 critically in terms of, like, IGN gave it a 6, but people absolutely love it. The IGN thing really doesn't matter, but you have pretty solid reviews, low 8s, which is actually good. I mean, it maybe is looked at as bad because you want games to get 9s, but it's gotten good scores. People love the game to death, right? People are playing it. People are talking about it very, very highly. That spreads. Then you have sales, which hopefully are very, very solid. Comes out around this, Black Friday time. I think that'll help it a lot. And then and then you have just a solid foundation to work on, and you have maybe some sort of conscious awareness in the game that, we're not going to directly set up a sequel. We're not going to, like, throw a villain at you at the end and just kind of leave you hanging, and we'll deal with them in the next game. But we are going to leave it open enough where we can come back and we can kind of do whatever we want because we left things pretty much wide open. Okay, so that's my opinion. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Do you think we'll get a second game? Do you want a second game? All that stuff, let me know. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my second channel or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links for all of them are in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.